Tell me about your last gig with Lizzy. Is it correct that you cracked up on stage in Belfast '73?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I just standing on stage one night and I was very, very, very drunk. I mean, I shouldn't have played. And very tired. And I started playing on stage and I started hallucinating nearly on stage. And also I was getting this sort of feedback from the guitar that I just couldn't control. And all this was happening and I was going, oh my God, I've had enough, you know. And a little voice inside your head goes, throw the guitar up in the air and walk off, you know. A lot of the time you don't listen to this little voice. We all have it, but you go, no, don't be stupid. But this night I listened to this little voice. Throw the guitar up in the air and I took it off and I threw it up in the air. It became a reality, yeah. And there's nothing you can do. Once the guitar's up there, it's like, oh my God, I changed my mind, you know. Bang. And I kicked all the amplifiers off as well.
Did anyone get hurt?
Oh no, no. And I sort of staggered off the stage and that was it. And
what was Philip's reaction?
Oh, he was, you know, fucking boy. And Brian as well. Brian just went like this, you know. They just flabbergasted completely.
Well, I was in 1974, and I had already been in England for only about 5 months, and I had 1 more month to go on my visa, and I figured if anything didn't happen at that point, I would just have to go back to Los Angeles, which is where I'm from, and just kind of go back with the attitude of, well, I gave it a shot, it didn't quite happen, but the experience was great. But I was playing in a pub in London, and a friend of mine, who's an Irish friend, said, you know, there's this band called Thin Lizzy, and they're looking for a guitar player. And I'd never heard of Thin Lizzy before, because at that point, you know, coming from California, nobody had heard of Thin Lizzy in America. Nobody had heard of Whiskey in the Jar. It was not a hit over there, and it was, you know, kind of a minor-ish hit in Europe even, you know. And I thought that the name was kind of strange also, you know, Thin Lizzy. You know. How good can these guys be with a name like Thin Lizzy, you know? But I asked them what kind of music they were playing, and they said, well, it's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of an Irishy, but kind of a hard rock thing. And so I was kind of intrigued with that. So I said, okay, well, I'll go down and have a jam with these guys and see how it goes, you know. And it was in a part of town that I hadn't been to before. It was a place called Hampstead, and it was like pissing down with rain, and it took me a long time to actually find the place. And when I did, it was this African club that had African paintings all over the place, and you had to walk down this really long, narrow hallway. And I noticed in the background there was a lot of African waiters, you know, cleaning the place up for that night. And one of the guys that happened to pass by my line of sight was Phil. And nobody told me that the bass player in the band was a black guy. So I figured he was one of the waiters at the club.
But I'm dancing in the moonlight. It's caught me in its spotlight. It's alright. Dancing in the moonlight on this long hot summer night.
So I walked in and you know, said hi to everybody, and Phil bounced right up to me and introduced himself to me, and oh, great, how you doing? And we just got up there. He started to teach me a few of the songs. I caught on pretty quick to him, and you know, and we got on real well. And they didn't ask me to join the band right then and there at the jam session, because what I didn't know beforehand is they were actually taping this jam that we were having. So they all went back over to Phil's house, and they all pored over the tapes and listened to them and scrutinized them, and figured out that I was the guy that they wanted to use, because apparently they'd gone through 25 different guitar players before, and they were getting really depressed over this. But when they heard the tape, Phil gave me a call that night and asked me if I would join the band.
Lonesome gambler, that woman will lead to heartbreaks. Take the word of one who played and lost in love. I played it cool, I dealt the heartaches, I broke the rules, but that woman, she cut me up. Come home, you've been away too long, will ya?
Well, how did you develop the two lead harmony guitar sound?
Well, the harmony guitar sound really came as more of an accident rather than hey, let's do harmony guitars. I remember we were in the studio one day, and I can't remember, it was either Brian Robertson or myself. We had this certain guitar line, and I think it was Brian. I'd already put my guitar line down, and all Brian was supposed to do was just double it, just play the exact same notes. And he had started it, I think, a bar late, right? Which meant that he was starting on the fifth or the third note, rather than on the route that I was starting on. And he just kept it going. He didn't stop. So it was harmonized all the way through, and then we'd actually recorded it. And we sat back and we listened to it and we went, what? Actually, that sounds pretty cool, you know. I've got another line here. Let's actually try to do a harmony on that line over there. And we did, and it worked in that song. And but you know, at that point, we weren't thinking of it as a certain guitar style. We just thought it was kind of a cool sound.